I'm looking to see if we have the same one. Is it the prom one?
No, this is the activities for teens.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay. So yes, I
Awesome
particularly
activities
was,
for teens with autism that develop important skills.
and I thought this was particularly great because we're at the beginning of summer. And the other day I went through a whole bunch of things about what to do for summer. But we were talking about younger kids. It gets harder when they're teens because you start to get pushback in lots of different ways. But I love this article. What did you think, Nancy?
I thought it was a great article. They have suggestions. There you go, is the website, scarymommy.com. They have suggestions for teens on activities that help with areas of development.
Yeah.
And some of them are kind of, maybe you wouldn't think. The first one is board games, which is great because it helps improve conversation and problem solving skills. And, board games, obviously, you need more than one person, but they're great vehicles for communication.
Yeah, Card did a lot of board games with Jem. Did you guys do a lot of board games with Wyatt?
Yeah, and we still do board games with Wyatt.
I, because I do the Festival of Toys. I'm all about games and
Right.
learning, through fun. And one of our categories every year for each age group is board games because I still think, there's so much that can be done with a board game, including I think they teach pre-employment skills.
Uh-huh.
Like when I sometimes when I see people who give really poor customer service, and I'm like, really, did you never play Monopoly? Did you not know? Like does that? So I'm all about the board games. I think that that's a wonderful suggestion. What else did you like on the list, Nancy?
I just wanted to also add that I found out my kid was great at Scrabble that I would not have known had I known.
Oh, isn't that great?
Yeah, he has a vocabulary that I never knew he had.
We should play Scrabble sometime on Zoom.
Okay, that would be great. Let's do that. Some video games, they qualify it with some. They get a bad rap, they said, because there's a lot of gratuitous violence and sexuality, but don't let that ban them from your home because there's some, there are some good video games out there.
Yeah, my son, there was of course I'm not going to think what the name of it is now, but there was a certain point, I know Scribble Knots was one of the first video games that I went, okay, this thing is genius. That
What's
you have
it
this
called?
character.
I didn't know this.
It's called Scribble Knots.
Okay.
And it's like NAUGHTS. And it's this thing where your character goes along through and he comes across a problem. And it asks you, what would you like to do? Now, this is for kids that are older and that can read, but are having trouble spelling. And this is not what the game was invented for, but this is what it's great for. My kid was a terrible speller. But so in the game, you get someplace and you have to figure out, you have to solve a problem. Like you have to give him something, like a paper airplane to throw up at something to be able to get in the door or whatever. And you have to spell it, and you have to spell it correctly or the game doesn't recognize it. And so I couldn't even believe the things that my son learned how to spell. I'm a terrible speller. But he would constantly be like, how do you spell this? How do you spell that? And I would go, what are you doing? Because we'd be in the car and he'd be like, I'm playing Scribble Knots and I got to know how to spell sarcophagus.
Right.
And I was like, sarcophagus? Parker's, there's the spelling, Nauts. Great game for spelling. But then later on, there was a game that he played that was not on a mobile device. It was on like a system. And he learned all about history. So he was coming and he was telling me, well, Nero said this. And I said, where are you, are they covering this at school? He's like, no, I learned this in the video game. Because you could play as Shakespeare or you could play as another character. So he was learning about all these people in history and like really getting to know them and know quotes and what they stood for because of this video game. So all video games are not perfect, and they're not all perfect for me. Ruinscape. It worked for me, Parker. I don't know that one. Oh, Parker's saying that the game that I'm talking about is Civilization.
Ah,
That's right. He
okay.
loved that game.
And
Uh,
it really works. So thanks for that suggestion, Peter. So
yeah,
don't rule out video games. Number 3 on the list was music. Um, that also can be therapeutic and be useful in developing speech and language.
fantastic. Fantastic. So I want to encourage people, go to scarymommy.com and look at this thing of activities for teenagers. Because sometimes, you're just too tired to think about what to do next, but
Yeah,
they've
I don't
created
know that
this.
if other people have this problem. Wyatt has a hard time thinking of things to do by himself. And we want to give him some downtime because between summer school, camp, and therapy and miracle project classes, he is scheduled out the wazoo. So I built
Yeah.
in Thursdays for him to have downtime. And he's often at a loss of what to do. So some of these things are things they can do by themselves.
And one of the things that they, ABA providers do and that CARD does is that they can do this at any age, they create play centers, right? But you make it age appropriate, where even with little kids, with a 3-year-old, they set up like 5 activities for them and they say, okay, and they have the visual schedule and they go, okay, first we're going to play with Play-Doh. And they do this to get them ready for kindergarten, and they play with the Play-Doh and then they ding the little bell and they go, time to move to the next center. And they go to and they like, now time to play in the play kitchen, right? Now it's time to go to this. And they go through the 5 things and they reward them for shifting from thing to thing to thing.
Right.
And then the next phase, they give them the visual schedule and say, which order do you want to do them in? And then after that, they say, here's 10 tokens. Which 5 things do you want to do? Because they're teaching them to choose which thing to do. So for a teenager, you can do that too, where you make a visual schedule and say, here are the 5 options. You have an hour. Which one do you want to do first? You have to do 3 of them.
Right.
And do the same thing. Because it's like, if they don't know how to use their downtime, they don't know how to de-stress, which is
That's right.
hard.
That's right.
Thanks for watching Autism Live. If you found anything helpful in this video, please give us a like. In fact, make sure that you smash that subscribe button on YouTube and give us a like on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram for important updates. And please download our free podcast wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now.
To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.